friends, and welcome to Pod Return to the Waking Sands. We are a Final Fantasy XIV companion podcast where we explore the lore and story of Hydaelyn and beyond. My name is Jen, and I'm joined by my co-host and researcher.
I'm Levi.
Hi, Levi.
Hello, Jen. How's it going?
It's going. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking, Jen.
Great. Yeah, I got a haircut and everything.
And everything. You noticed my haircut, Jen, but you do not notice my teeth cleaning.
Oh, it's not something people typically notice unless you're just walking around with stuff on your teeth, which you do not do.
Thank you for the indirect compliment, Jen.
Right, yes. Yeah, congratulations on not walking around with stuff on your teeth.
Thanks. Appreciate that. Today, we are going to be finishing up the patch 2.5 main scenario quest.
Yep.
So, what happened last time, Jen?
Last time, the Crystal Braves needed our help up at the Cerulean processing plant because the Garleans up there at the Castrum were getting a little needy and decided to plan to invade the base and steal our stuff. And so we're like, nope. So we go up there, we handle that shit. Moonbrita was up there, was peeping on some of that corrupted crystal to do a test on her etheric siphon. So we went to go check on her because she was all alone, but, you know, she's an axe-wielding badass and she was good to go. So after she calibrated her stuff, an Ascian showed up. His name was Nabrialis, and he notated our lack of blessing of light. He notated our lack of a blessing of light. And said something about a staff, and said something about a seal, and then blinked out of existence. And we told Moonbrita, and she was like, oh shit, he's after Tup Samadhi. We gotta go back to the Rising Stones ASAP. And that's where we are.
Thank you, Jen. Very efficient recap.
Right?
Yeah.
There's totally hit or miss. It's either like, I got it, or I don't remember shit. I'm wandering around.
We return to the Rising Stones and go rushing into the Solar and find Nabrialis already there. Tup Samadhi is missing from its frame. Minfilia has the broken staff clutched in her hands. Nabrialis is being a sassy villain.
So, you were able to divine my intent. What now, warrior of light? But that name is no longer fitting. You have become decidedly dull and quite incapable of barring my entry.
Bro, you're a fucking bore, alright? I'm full of light. I'm full of laughter and love and spice and people like me. Okay? The same cannot be said about you.
Jen, you are now full of shit, not light.
I disagree. I feel like Nabrialis is the warrior of shit. You know what? Yeah, I'll die on that hill. Absolutely.
Someone might.
Well, yeah.
Minfilia asks what he means. So he now explains that the blessing of light is gone, so now he can enter our domain, presumably meaning Scion's headquarters.
Right, yeah.
But he explains that the blessing of light had no power ever over Elidibus and La Habrea, since they are of this world. But enough talk. Have at that staff. He shall take it, and he shall bring about the next rejoining.
Ah, that term clicks for Minfilia. And she's like, so it was you that was responsible for the Isle of Val, the scholars, all of that, all disappearing, the death, so that was you. And Nabrialis just responds by raising a hand towards Minfilia, like he's gonna laser ball her or something. And Moonbrita is like, absolutely not, and she rushes him again. And again, he repels her, but really violently this time. He shoots a beam of energy straight through her midair, and she collapses to the ground. She is severely wounded. And Minfilia, we don't really have time to, do much here, but Minfilia wants to know why he's after the staff. Like, what the fuck is your problem about this staff? It's a memorial. What could he gain from stealing something like that? And he's like, you mean to say that all this time you kept the key, never knowing what it was that you possessed. The stone tablet on the staff, it's got the symbol for one of the 12 on it. It's the scroll.
Yeah, it's the tablet's broken too. It's broken in half.
Yeah.
But I do believe it is the scroll of Thaliak.
Yes, okay. So that's the stone tablet he's talking about. It contains a great power. It can be used to gather great quantities of ether. And it's how Louis Soir was able to summon the power of the 12.
Also note that the horn of the staff channels that ether.
Those two things combined,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. So now understanding its significance, Minfilia is like, you will take this from my dead body. I will die before you take this. And he's like, yeah, I mean, that's not a problem. I can absolutely end your life right now. But he says if he does that, he knows Elidibus would vehemently oppose that decision. Therefore, he will just take Minfilia as well. And at that moment, a large rift opens up behind her, swallowing them both, and Nabrialis walks through himself. And Moonbrita, she's still struggling with her wounds on the floor. She implores us to follow them before the rift closes. And we do, and that's how we find ourselves in the Chrysalis.
Yeah. We enter a cloudy void with a horizon line of pink energy. We are on a circular platform of dark crystal. On one end is the statue we've been seeing, presumably of Zodiark. On the other end of the platform, there is a metal-banded doorway standing atop a separate rocky platform. Ringing the arena are 14 small floating stalactites of cubic stone. Atop each one is a stone rectangle topped with a pierced crescent moon, adjoining a tall reddish crystal. I'm not quite sure what these things are meant to be, honestly, Jen.
This is goth as fuck.
Okay, so I know what they are meant to be in terms of what they symbolize, because there's 14 of them. That's an auspicious number. But I don't know what this conglomeration of shapes is meant to be, honestly. I'm a bit stumped as to the crescent moon and crystal pillar and blocky stone stuff matched together.
Nope. Could just be like, because it's cool.
It could be because it's cool.
Probably not.
But we are more concerned with Minfilia, who is being suspended by dark energy. Nabrialis creeps on her for a moment before teleporting to the arena center. His Ascian sigil is now showing in front of his mask. It looks like a winged pyramid.
I actually didn't notice that at all.
It's his true face.
True face.
Good thing, too, because his real face is actually pretty lame.
Wow.
I'm serious. We see him without his hood on in a moment, and he looks like, I don't know, some chump.
Well, I know he's got like the really long sideburns going on, which is a little new metal-y. NU metal-y.
Well, we'll get there in a second, but I was not intimidated.
Levi is not impressed.
I was not impressed by his true appearance. Keep that mask on, Nabrialis.
So rude.
He's rude. Look at this, Jen defending Nabrialis.
Hold on, I'm looking at a picture. Yeah, he looks just like a bit of a chode. Yeah, when I said new metal, that's straight up what he looks like.
Got Jen on my team now.
Like he looks like some, one of these like shitty kid upstarts, like Humphrey. Remember Humphrey?
I do, yes.
Kind of a piece of shit.
Yep.
Looks like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Also owned by Jen.
I guess. But yeah, it's actually weird because his look is not at all like in line with, I think, how an Ascian would
That's
look.
what I was thinking when I saw him. Is like, this guy does not
he
feel
looks
like...
straight out of 2001,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
He does not feel like a terrifying figure besides the mask and like the sigil.
An ancient that lives in the void. No, he doesn't look like that at all. Just like this blonde kid with long sideburns.
Anyway, now that we're done dissing Nabrialis, we fight him. We ran this fight on minimum item level with a crew of people. Who are those peeps, Jen?
Yeah, so we had a whole team of folks on this for the 8-man here. Today we had Raven Ghostpaw as, what the fuck is that symbol?
Dark Knight, I'm assuming.
Dark Knight. God, I'm bad at the tank symbols because I don't tank ever. All right, Raven Ghostpaw as Dark Knight and Naughty Ivy as Paladin, right?
Is it a shield?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. As White Mage, we had Kiko Faye and myself. And our DPS team were the Aroki Fenan as Red Mage, Aki Maho as Machinist, Rina Chelaway as Samurai, and Shu as Dragoon. Boom.
Boom.
Teamy team.
Thank you all.
We nailed it.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's just a normal trial, but this was a lot more fun on minimum item level than it was running this normal sync through a queue.
Yeah. I mean, we're nicely geared, but it's just nice to make it feel like an actual fight. Yeah. Though when I ran it with people, it was not just like the, wham bam whatever. Like there were moments I think people were close to death. Like it was, I don't know, like it wasn't a walk in the park.
You're talking about your normal synced clear.
Yeah, when I was just doing it through.
Yeah, for the notes
from the Finder. Yeah, the Duty Finder.
The Finder.
The Finder.
What is this? A Macintosh?
Good pull.
Thank you. Anyway, this was a lot of fun. This fight is a bit rough to get in like a roulette, just because this has a mechanic that will quite possibly wipe you if you don't have experienced people on the team. It doesn't come up until maybe 3/4 of the way through the fight.
Yeah, the meteor section.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that was the part where people in my group were like, okay, guys, you gotta okay, one tank goes over there, one tank goes. It was like, they were really, really concerned.
Sure. I mean, I would be too if I were trying to get my roulettes in for the day and I was like, I don't want to have to wipe and redo this thing from scratch. Same thing. There is a Shadowbringers trial that comes up late in Shadowbringers. If you know, that new players almost always fail, and it's a nightmare because you just lose all this progress and the fail point is so dumb. It's just always anxiety inducing getting that trial with a new person because they're going to wipe the whole party probably and make you start from scratch.
What trial is that?
It's the one where you have to mash your buttons. It's got the QuickTime event.
Those are silly.
Oh, this one is hard though. You have to really jam on the keyboard. If one person fails the QuickTime event, the whole party wipes.
That's dumb.
Correct.
Those two things together, extra dumb, them separate, dumb.
Yes and yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, this one here has the meteor part. If people blow the limit break early or if they don't know how to handle it, then you will wipe and have to do the whole fight over again pretty much from scratch.
So the limit break...
Well, we'll get there, Jen, in the course of the fight.
Okay.
So we fight Nabrialis.
He's a slippery motherfucker.
He is a slippery motherfucker. This was fun playing on Dragoon because now the Dragoon has the two gap closers.
Flippy floppies.
The two gap closers, Jen. The flippy floppy implies you're flipping. That is the backflip.
Oh my God. Whatever.
When Nabrialas is teleporting all over the place, it's pretty fun to chase him down and keep your rotation going without a break using those gap closers.
I did the Duty Finder one. I was ninja, so I was able to go zoop, zoop, zoop.
Yep.
With my little flippy floppies.
It's P-fun.
Yeah.
The main thing he does in terms of just the tank and spank portion of the fight is he will cast double or triple, then cast spark. This essentially is a tank buster attack. Double makes the next spell be cast twice. Triple makes the next spell be cast 3 times. On min eye level, a doubled spark will knock down a tank's health bar to almost nothing unmitigated. A unmitigated triple will one-shot a tank effectively.
Oh.
If we're being picky, it's technically a 3-shot, but
Still.
You got to mid up for those doubles and triple sparks. It's kind of nice though because they happen in quick succession. It's not immediate, so you can heal the tank in between hits of the spark.
Right.
Otherwise, he's got Anne raid wide. He's got Earthquake, which will do pretty heavy damage to us, but it's fine. As long as you're not low in health, it's okay. It's mostly going to punish you if you're low in health from other mechanics. The only other real mechanic that's going to challenge you during this phase is the orb mechanic. You've got either glowing red balls of light, or you have these dark green rimmed orbs that start coming out in very rapid succession from the arena perimeter. Now Briellas is in the middle. He's charging up his energy. Every time one of these orbs contacts Nabriellas, he gets more powerful. So you want to intercept the orbs.
Yep.
When you hit a black ball, you get like a magic damage vulnerability up. And when you hit a red ball, you get a physical damage vulnerability up. So you want to alternate the balls you touch.
You heard it here first, folks.
Correct. If you hit the same type of ball twice in a row, you will probably kill yourself or do high damage to yourself, and the healers will not like it.
Everybody did great.
Yes, they did. That's the mechanic. Alternate the balls, you're good to go. Nabriellas will do a pretty hefty raid wide, more so if he had balls touch him.
Would you say you have to juggle the balls?
I would say that, Jen, yes.
Okay.
Afterwards, he will start doing this mechanic where he teleports around a bit and does this big fat lion AoE. This one's pretty easy. Just have to chase him down. Not a big deal.
Not a big deal.
Midway through the fight, Nabriellas cries, "By Zodiark's name I command thee. River of time, mire mine enemy and thy sluggish flow." He will then start to suck us into a vortex in the center of the arena, and the arena will be transformed to solid white crystal.
Ooh.
When he does this cast, he will drop a damage over time effect on you. It's like suffocate or something. The trick here is that if you want to be a pro player, you run away from the middle vortex and you let the dot tick off before you get sucked into the vortex. You will be sucked into the vortex, but if you stay far away, you can delay the intake for long enough that you will have the dot tick off. If you're an extra pro player, you will use all the buffs you can. You can sprint, you can use tank invulns, you can do damage ups, you can cast regen on players. Because what's going to happen here is that he's going to stop time. This white vortex place is a time stop effectively. So the duration of all abilities will be multiplied by 10 while you're inside the vortex.
Ooh.
Which means that if you go in there with that dot on you, the dot will last for the whole encounter, the whole
Brilliant.
phase. If you go in there with a DPS up buff, then that will last for the whole phase too.
Clever girl.
You don't have to do this, especially not on like a normal queue, but it's pretty cool to have your damage window last for a minute or whatever. So do that. You get sucked into the crystal void is like kind of salty crystal void. I don't know. Anyway, this is a meteor mechanic where you have to have the tanks soak the descending meteors. I had to pick up one meteor on our side. I was playing a melee DPS. This thing almost one-shot me. I don't recommend it as a healer or a caster or ranged.
Or, yep.
Or frankly, melee DPS if you can help it. So that's the tank mechanic. They have to run around and soak these falling meteors. There will be a giant meteor falling in the middle of the arena. This one you're not supposed to tank. This is essentially a DPS race because you need to reopen this rift going back to normal space. You do so by attacking it. You will have an LB3 charge by now. So the best thing to do is have a melee DPS do a melee LB3 on the rift. That will do most of his health bar. Then you can finish it off. You can go back to the normal fight and get out of there before the meteor falls.
Sweet.
If someone pops an LB before then, it's going to be tight to get that rift opened, especially if you have rusty players who haven't played this trial for a year plus and don't know the mechanic, because the DPS window is fairly tight without that LB.
Yeah, no wonder it seems so chill. Both groups that I was in knew that trick. And yeah, I totally forgot that this was a trial at all. When I encountered it doing the notes for this, I'm like, the fuck is this? Remembered it not at all. I mean, I remember the guy, obviously. I don't remember Minfilia getting sucked into the void at all.
I think that half of our team members forgot this existed too.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. At the end of the fight, Minfilia is like, "Thank you." Everybody's like, "Oh my god, Minfilia!"
That's a spoiler. Gonna cut that out.
Fine. Oh, it's like diluted cough syrup.
Stop drinking it.
I'm drinking.
Drink other flavors.
Drink other flavors.
Okay.
Now I've opened it. I'm drinking it.
Jen is complaining about her raspberry LaCroix.
Raz Cranberry LaCroix.
Yeah,
it is not a great flavor.
Right. We are not sponsored and will never be sponsored by LaCroix.
Wouldn't that be hilarious?
Thank you, Jen.
Sorry.
After we burst the rift back open, we return to normal space, and then we just finish off Nabriela's. There is nothing else to the fight. It's just a simple repeat mechanics, kill him, no problem.
Yeah, he doesn't even, take his final form or anything. His final form is his first form.
Yes.
Zippity-doo.
Zippity-doo.
I don't know why I said that.
We defeat Nabriela's, and Minfilia is freed. And we return back through the fissure, arriving in the Rising Stones. Nabriela's body lies on the floor. His hood has fallen back, revealing a head of curly blonde hair and those long sideburns.
Yeah. In my notes, I'm like, despite the lack of the blessing, we defeat Nabriela's in his own realm and bring Minfilia and the staff back to the Solar. Great job, guy. You had all the benefits in the world. Or you had all the... This was your one opportunity and you blew it.
He did. But Jen, not quite.
Well, you know, they're immortal. So...
A purple vortex pulses above Minfilia's desk. Nabriela's reincarnates on the spot in his full Ascian glory.
Yeah.
You may have bested me this day, but what of the next? What of all the days to come? This wasn't his shot, Jen. He gets all the shots.
Yeah, he taunts us with an eternity of encounters like this.
Eventually.
Just like Mr. Krabs. Okay, he's definitely referencing SpongeBob when Mr. Krabs and Plankton switch places, and Mr. Krabs is constantly trying to steal Plankton's secret recipe, and he's like, I'll be back and then on the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day, and Plankton loses his fucking shit and is like, no, I can't take it. We'll put that clip in here, so that everybody gets the lore.
The SpongeBob lore.
It's very important, yes.
Even if I have to come back tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day.
Phone call, Mr. Plankton.
And the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day.
He cries, eventually, you will falter and the staff will be mine. Until next time, scions.
No. Moonbrita, she's still on the floor. She's barely hanging on. She's like, this is it. She takes the white orosite and slides it across the floor to Minfilia with a knowing glance. Minfilia picks it up and she thrusts it in Nabrialis' face and declares, there will be no next time. This is the end. And the orosite begins to absorb Nabrialis' essence very slowly, surely. All of his stuff is flying around the room, getting sucked into the orosite, and he is very confused. He cries, what trickery is this? And he is swallowed up completely by the orosite. So now, this is the moment. But we have not created a blade yet. What the fuck are we going to do? Minfilia shouts to grab Tupsamati, gather the ether, and destroy it before he breaks free. So we do. We grab Tupsamati, we concentrate, we focus on that moment where we created a similar etheric blade when we were fighting La Habrea. We tap into that moment, and a beam of ether shoots out towards Nabrialis, but it's not strong enough. There's still like a force around him. It cannot pierce it. It's not strong enough. Moonbrita is grasping her etheric siphon on the ground, and she bemoans how so much ether still isn't enough. And Minfilia starts praying to Hydaelyn. She asks her to bless us with her light, to intervene, to help, and there's nothing. And she wonders if she can even hear us anymore. If only we had a bit more ether, Moonbrita says. And she struggles to her feet. She closes her eyes, and she speaks to Master Louisoix. She says, Master Louisoix, I understand now the choice you made. In death, there is life. And she staggers over to the beam, reaching toward it slowly. And Minfilia realizes what she is about to do and screams at her to stop. Moonbrita smiles at her slightly and relinquishes her being to the stream. And her sacrifice is enough to destroy the Orosite and, with it, Nabrialis.
Nabrialis screams as the Orosite explodes into fragments. We're left with no trace of Moonbrita besides the etheric siphon. Now the remaining Scions rush into the solar, sans Urianger. At first, they think that we handle things ourselves, but Minfilia gives them the news. Time passes as she gives them an accounting. Eventually, Urianger enters. Minfilia thinks that she has to relate events to him anew, but no, he was listening in. He remarks, "The moon sinketh, taking her leave of the heavens, yet her passing heraldeth the coming of a new day. Moonbrita hath fulfilled her destiny, hath she not?" Urianger now begins speaking of her life.
God, he's like, to be this eloquent in a moment like this isn't real, but like, he Urianger's the shit out of this moment. He tells of his and Moonbrita's life on Charlian when they studied under Master Louisoix together. And he speaks about the unfortunate dichotomy between the spirit of Charlian's scholarship, that knowledge is for the greater good, and the society's strict adherence to isolationism. And despite this, Louisoix he created the Circle of Knowing, traveled to Eorzea, and he sacrificed his life to save the realm his Charlian brethren had forsaken. However, Louisoix never shared his motivations with Moonbrita, and she was left back home wondering why he no longer kept her in his confidence. And over the years, her confusion grew as her countrymen slandered Louisoix's name. How could he abandon her and forsake his duty? But she revered this man. This internal struggle, she dealt with this for years. And Urianger knew that Master Louisoix's decision was born of his desire for her to find her own path outside of his influence.
'Twas not for want of love that Master Louisoix hid his intent. He but desired that Moonbrita discover her own path, free of the shadow of his influence. Long did I contemplate revealing the truth to her, and long did I hold my peace. After all, was it not Master Louisoix's wish that she come to the truth unaided? I told myself it was, and resolved to let her suffer. Knowingly did I deny my friend the comfort she craved. And now she hath gone to her rest, with doubt still in her heart.
And that was almost too much for him to bear. But we tell him of what she just said, her last words, how she fully understood why Louisoix made his choice, and she was freed.
Urianger has a rare moment of expressed emotion here. He mourns, "O Moonbrita, my dearest, how I shall miss thee." But Minfilia takes over. We cannot let her sacrifice be in vain. We will keep working on the Blade of Ether and make sure we see it to completion. Urianger excuses himself to go mourn in private at the Waking Sands. Minfilia declares that we will mourn Moonbrita in the Charlian fashion. So we prepare to head out, but if we check in with the Scions individually afterwards, Papalymo has a thought.
I noted that too. She was counting on the theory that a soul's ether burns brightest at the moment of its passing. A scholar until the very end. Like, hot damn.
Speaking of, we are going to mourn Moonbrita at the Mark of the Scholar, the symbol of Thaliak that can be found in Eorzea's wilds. This one is found at Rathfrost in Mordona.
Oh yeah, that's in the middle of all of the crystal.
This is the ridge by the crystallized tree where you can find all of the plasmoids.
Yeah.
It is so named because of the sound the crystallized flora makes underfoot, like frost. At the tree's base is a stone etched with the scroll symbol of Thaliak. We all kneel in turn at the symbol, and Minfilia says a few words.
Forgive me, Moonbreeder. Had I been quicker or wiser, but I was not, and you paid the price. But you would not suffer us to wallow in our sorrow, would you? You would tell us to pick ourselves up and get on with it. And so we shall. We shall defend this realm and her people to the last.
Midgarstormer materializes with a poor sense of timing. Life for death. A fair exchange. Other bargains will be struck.
Yes, thank you.
And that's where we leave off. Well, Jen, here's where we get real. Our crew for the Chrysalis was all talking up this segment, this and patch 2.55, and just how exciting all this is, how it really creates so much momentum for Heaven's Ward going into it.
Yeah, for real. So, we all kind of reminisced a little bit, back when you do it the first time, you can never do it the first time again. And how it, at least for me, it blew my mind. I never played a game that made me feel all of these feelings before. And then the end of AOR that we're a stone's throw from it. Like, you finally feel, I don't know, like it finally feels like we are living in a world on the verge of something either great or terrible. And all of these little things, like the restlessness in Ul'dah, that always felt like so far away. The flames are dealing with it. The Crystal Braves are dealing with it. It all comes crashing down, and it changes our lives forever. And I was dreading this recording today. I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to talk about it, and I didn't want to feel more feelings. God damn it. Because you're gonna cut this out, but we don't really get any kind of closure on this moment, and it's never really mentioned again in a meaningful way until fucking. And even after all of that time, when we all got to that moment, it was still as fresh as it is, or as it was when it happened, when Moonbreeder died. I almost said the first time. A lot of people have strong, a lot of people have strong opinions. Of course they do. Maybe after distancing themselves from this moment a while, they feel like they can be like, you know what? Moonbreeder wasn't really that big of a character. She barely, she was here for 3 quests or whatever, a handful of quests. And, we've put her on a pedestal ever since. And then we have that moment, however many patches later, and those people seem to think that our strong reaction to that moment was not valid.
Who are those people?
Just the people.
Reddit.
Yeah, there's, and everybody has their own opinion. Everybody's going to feel differently about it. But I would say most of us felt very touched and heartbroken over this. And, we carried that forward for years and years and years. These story beats that are going to hit us really hard. And I'm both really looking forward to it, but also dreading it. Yeah. Yeah.
I am excited for patch 2.55.
It's a doozy. Yeah. We're just going to be listening to cutscenes and taking notes. That's it. We're not going to be playing a game. We're just going to be watching cutscenes.
There's gameplay there.
A little bit.
There's a big former trial, now solo instance there.
Oh, I didn't even realize that was. Fuck. Yeah, I thought that was Heavensward. No,
Nope.
255.
Nope, 255.
So that's a solo instance now?
It is now, yes.
Oh, shit.
They revised it. It was very
Weird.
janky before. I'm looking forward to seeing it in its polished version.
Totally.
now.
So like that is new. That's new for us.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Never
it's-
done that before.
It's like Rataden kind of, where they redid it entirely
Yeah.
to update the old,
Awesome.
less than ideal mechanics.
Right. Yeah, they tried to get cute with it. But no, I'm looking forward to solo instance. That
Same.
is awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, anywho.
Well, besides all that, I do want to say that I had forgotten, I think I've mentioned this multiple times, I'd forgotten most of the A Realm Reborn patch series. In my memory, it went from like the immediately after Ultima Weapon stuff into the 2.5, 2.55 stuff, and I forgot all of the intervening content, mainly all the
Yeah.
Blades drama and the Ivy, which...
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And probably a lot of Doman stuff.
Oh, that's interwoven with the Blades and Ivy. Like, I recall the Domans showing up. I recall Yugiri's, the weirdness about her being a secret, even though she's got a tail sticking out of her
right.
outfit. But I didn't recall any action, and frankly, it has not been very memorable for me, even playing through again in high zoom in.
No, it's just
It's just not-
it's the potatoes in your stew.
Precisely, but this is where my memory picks up again. It's so much more vivid, so much more
Yes.
engaging than what we've had so far.
Yeah. This primed my nervous system once again.
Yeah, precisely. But anyways, I got really confused on a replay by the appearance of Elidibus, because he comes out of nowhere, he
Right? We're
talks
like, what?
real weird about weird stuff, and then
Like, I'm
he
an
fucks
emissary.
off
I'm the
again.
good one. And it's fucking
And we
bizarre.
don't see him again until now, where we get like a name drop where he is of our world or some shit. I don't know. And he'd
What
be
does that
mad if
mean?
Minfilia died. He appeared and then he fucked off, and I don't know in our continuity why he matters. Like,
I mean, maybe it was important to establish that, the Ascians are not a monolith, and some of them have sway over the others, or it's some kind of like cooperative. And also, Nabrialis, the seal is down, we're vulnerable. He can't just go around like killing folks. There had to be something to stay his hand. Otherwise, that'd just be weird that he wouldn't just kill us, because that'd be really easy.
well, not because we kill him.
We do kill him.
Owned Nabriella.
He didn't think he could die. Surprise.
He got told.
Surprise, motherfucker.
I'm just still bemused by the Elidibus story so far, or lack thereof.
We talked a lot about it when back on that quest.
I know, but now
yep.
Nabriella's has reignited
you
my
name dropped him,
curiosity.
and you're like, ah.
Precisely, Jen. You get it. That's all. It's weird. He's weird.
He's an emissary, man.
What does that mean, Jen?
I don't know.
Same.
To what end? Like what?
Well, anyway,
Whatever.
let's not talk about stuff we can't talk about. So that is what we know for now. And that is it for today's episode. Next time, we'll be playing through the Sunken Temple of Karn hard, and then we'll be busting it on some Blue Mage.
Sorry. I don't know.
What?
No, it just feels like there is more to say about this, but no.
I think you said a lot during it, and the content contained the feelings as well.
You're right. Yeah. I just, I want to give her due.
You did, Jen.
Okay.
Anyway, we may have, I don't recall, said we'd be starting on Blue Mage right after the patch, but leveling and spelling
We gotta
Blue
get
Mage
some spells under our belts,
from
y'all.
scratch is a lot of work. So
So-
sorry to give you Blue Mage blue balls.
Heavy on the ball talk today. Yep. Juggling, gargling, alternating,
Blueing.
touching, bluing. Yep.
Got a lot of balls in the air, Jen.
Correct. So we're gonna utilize that dungeon, phone a friend, to work on some Blue Mage stuff.
Exactly. Anyway, thanks for joining us. We will see you next time. Oh, also, finally, Jen will have the details in her outro, but we have relaunched our social media presence on Blue Sky. So you can listen to Jen, and you can check the show notes for the link to our Blue Sky, which is being run by our Discord member, Catherine Wolfshead. So thank you, Kathy. Thank you, everyone.
that will do it for today's episode. Thank you all so much for listening and keeping Moonbreeda in your hearts. And if you want to get in touch with us, you can at podreturnffxiv@gmail.com, or check the show notes for our Discord info. You can log in, share your glams, join us for group runs, organize group runs of your own. They're amazing people, and we would love to have you. We also are on the Blue Sky, and you may blue us or sky us, whatever the term is, at podreturnffxiv. And last but not least, our Patreon, patreon.com/podreturnffxiv. And for $1 a month, you get access to all of our other stuff. That includes the seasonal episodes and our Final Fantasy XI series, Vana'diel Van Splainer. So check it out. And with that, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Have a good day or night, and we will see you next time.